Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of my podcast, Common Culture. I'm your host, Alyssa, and this is Alyssa's Reality on YouTube. And if you're new here, thank you so much for watching. If you are back, thank you so much for watching me. I really do put myself completely out here when I record for you guys, and my thoughts don't matter, if I'm just being honest. You know, it's just another opinion on this platform where multiple opinions, millions of opinions are shared daily. So the fact that you're listening to mine, I understand what you are deciding to do, and I can't thank you guys enough. All right, moving on. I'm going to try to sporadically give light and darker topics their time. And last 2 was pretty light in my opinion. And in my opinion, last 2 weeks have been pretty easy, chill, laid back topics. Giving my opinion on it doesn't really change the culture primarily in itself. And I'm not necessarily asking with emphasis. I'm not asking you with these next 2 topics that we're gonna be talking about are real topics that need to be thought about deeper about, like, what do we genuinely want to do about this? I am excited to talk to you guys about this. I hope that you guys want to share my thoughts so that we can hopefully debunk or expand or do whatever it takes to figure it out, because that's what these next 2 topics are for me. Topics that I want to figure out, how do we start today, and not just in the ways that we've been told at this point, because we're telling them old tactics when we're trying to conquer new people who have been raised completely different than the ones those old tactics worked on. So now I'll tell you the topics. All right, now we have that. And the first topic I'm going to discuss next episodes is prison culture. For the last 5 months, I worked at a prison. And what this prison in particular did not know is that I had no intentions of ever being up to their standards. You work to get out of this place. You don't work to stay in it. And before I get into my issues with the culture in there, I have to talk about the background. For legal reasons, and I feel like understood reasons, I will not be naming names. I will not be even saying this institution. I won't be saying anything defamatory about this institution. I will only be talking about my perspective of what happened in there. That's it. You do not have to believe me. That's okay. But this is my perceived experience of working in modern day slavery. Well, I think what I really have to start off with is who I am, and why in particular that dynamic was important to note is that not only am I a Black woman, but in there, notably, it was not unique. I looked around and I was very, very much surprised that a lot of these people in here are my color. The managers, everything, and that I can explain through a lens that you guys can understand, we're Black people. So I expected myself to have to not really be flashy about my Blackness or have conversations around being a Black person in there or whatever, or be token in there. But I wasn't token in there. I was another one in and another one out. And while refreshing, it wasn't for the right things. in my opinion. I am a mentally disabled woman. I struggle with a dissociative disorder from childhood abuse. And that is a part of me everywhere I go. I don't get to choose who debated why it's that and how it affects me and why it hinders me. I can't really control those aspects. And I think with those backgrounds in mind, everybody would say, okay, you got a degree, Alyssa. You may not find a job right now. Why take a job like this? Well, if I can't take a job in a field of my passion, or in a way that I can get to the passion that I want to use my field for, because my field is more of a tool than a field in itself, is I want to gain some knowledge of some sort. And I recognized how little I knew about prison culture. I recognized I only knew about modern day slavery and the way we see it on TV. And my institution was one of the good ones. Well, not even good, one of the lighter ones. The ones with less structure, the ones with messy and unorganized people. It wasn't the one where everybody was getting attacked and fights were happening all the time. And yet, I saw the same dynamics I watched in slave movies happening in front of my face. And I know for a fact those people don't think about it that way. And that breaks my heart that a lot of them were my skin tone and darker. I'm baffled. I had to dedicate 2 months of my life to training in order to just step foot in a prison by myself. And even when I wasn't by myself, I had a, basically it's just something I pulled if I got hurt. They'd run to me. And those 2 months of training were not easy. They required physical 48-hour training. And I am so glad I somehow managed to slip right in at the time where they did not make us do OC training. And the proneness to violence, like why? I got the defensive techniques because there are people on drugs in there, and you may need to learn more restraining techniques at specific spots for making sure no one ever picks a fight with us again. And if there are prisons out there where it is that dangerous to walk around, why are we teaching cops how to be more violent instead of making prisons safer and structural dynamics? Why are prisons outwards instead of upwards? The teaching was inconsistent, at the least, and overwhelming at the most, and frightening and scary to see so many people use force incorrectly in prisons. And it's just like, how do you do that to another human so quickly for nothing? Nothing. And of course they're going to show us the charged ones. But when some of the ones are teaching are the same ones that should have been charged, even if they have turned over a new leaf, who cares? There's not real justice. Nothing's changing except for one person out of a few. And even if a few exist, it spoils the whole bunch, truly. I saw that in front of my face. How even people who went in wanting to humanize. Had one instance of a stupid person just being a stupid person. Like, sometimes it has nothing to even do that they're in that situation. Sometimes those people just react like that in those type of situations. In high pressure, high stakes situations. Doesn't define the whole bunch. And that's never how I saw them. But I definitely saw the assholes from the... Those are just people things. Those are people things. That then turned into these tyrants. Just want to be left alone. And a specific subset of black people showing absolutely no leniency when there are white ones doing half the work. And I get why you think that way. And I got fired, so ain't nothing I can tell you, obviously. But what being fired told me, and what you're telling yourself about working there, it's like bearing two different crosses. Because having to ignore in your face all the time modern day slavery, and then just because you're on probation, when you're tired from working 16 hours back to back, or even in the span of what did I say, 24, 72 hours, whatever I put down for my disabilities. 3 days out the week, I'm working 16 hours. What I would like to say is that the actions of the people inside of the prison is brought out by the structure and systemic stuff of the prison. I am not attacking a singular prison. Not worth it. I go for the real people in power. When I talk about culture, not the people who are just trying to make $21 an hour so they can bring their family over from a horrible position in another country. Two different crosses, man. I am yelling at the system that has the audacity to ask that in order to take care of, but really be a master to their property. They're considered state property. Everything they own is considered state property. Therefore they are. There is no self-identity in there. And the ones they create, they have demonized, and to the point that they have equalized black power to white power, saying that the same white people who believe they're better than black people in gangs are equivalent to the black people who are in gangs, and yelling black power or black pride most of the time. But they are racist as well. And sure, you'll have your dumbasses who want to cry it just because they can. For the most part, they were actually calling out some shifty, questionable thought patterns. Why do I gotta be the enemy? Why does one person failing at being rehabilitated in their moment mean that I have to be punished? And why is it when someone relapses in here, in the place where we are supposed to be facilitating them, shouldn't they be okay fucking up in here? But there's a bigger structure that is profiting off of this. And if it's not by money itself, It's by the oppression of Black people. Black money, Black wealth, Black economics can't be created when the same tactics one uses to get money cannot be used unless taken to jail and then no longer human again. That is the corner you back most people already born into disparity into. And when they find a community of people where they can give themselves a chance, drugs, stealing, whatever, make quick cash for desperate situations, most of the time, in this level at least. Now, did they fight the cops when they were trying to not get arrested? Probably. So yes, they are probably aggravated people, but was the logic behind it? Yes. The only ones I was scared in there of were the few white people in every one of those dorms, because they are the only people who fight illogically for no reason, out of nowhere, or for the littlest thing, such as a magazine on a table. And how is it that a white person and a Black person get in a fight? I don't care, both of you go to solitary confinement. I don't know. To me, that was just hard to watch. And I pushed through it, trying to just give myself a chance in a legal-ish way. You know, I don't want modern day slavery to exist. We don't want a lot of systems in our life to exist. But they're our only viable option at the moment. I think the goal is to get to a level where, okay, sure, I attained it through that means, but now I'm ready to let it go. But you got it through all of this. I don't give a fuck. I may obtain so much through this means, through this system, and I'm still going to work to destroy it and to create one that will actually benefit everyone. And when it comes to people who may need rehabilitation from a mindset the previous system put into them from birth, it will give them a place, give them a square of land, build it upwards, not outwards, so that it only matters to the people in there what they do. Basic necessities met at a human decency level, because I mean, not even the food in there was good. Yeah. Modern day slavery, prison culture, it's depressing. But honestly, I did not regret working there at all, and I don't actually mind that I got fired. I think it was the perfect timing. I ended up finding a job that I really enjoyed and potentially being able to be exposed to figuring out how I can help my community better. I'm not going to regret that. I'm not going to regret learning hands-on while also receiving copious amounts of money. Your girl saved up, so even when she got fired, I still got paid. Like, there was nothing here where I didn't benefit because I got one thing that the system hates for us to get. And that's knowledge. Serious topics. But my experience working here was just not something I could possibly keep to myself, because it woke me up again. My eyes are literally wider. And you gotta figure it out, guys. What does the system look like in our new utopia, guys? Have we thought about stuff like that? How does a prison look like in our utopia? Not can we destroy this one, but what would one of our own look like? Because that's where I'm at after this. So, like I said, very deep topic. So there's no real easy way to end this. But if you have any thoughts of your own, if you've worked in this culture before, if you have your own perceptions of it on your own that you've taken away that I couldn't have thought of, Leave it down below in the comments. And if you enjoy me talking about harder stuff like this, so I can know that. And if you want to support your girl, you always know that subscribing is helpful. And if you, of course, want to know when the next episodes drop, hit that notification bell. Bye, guys. Until next time, may my faith be enough for us both. All right.